Hello YouTube, this is Goddard Radio Moscow here again with another beer review for you today. This one is going to be my second collaboration beer review, so I'm quite interested to try this one for you today. This is a collaboration between two Scottish breweries, the Brewdog Brewery from Ellon in Aberdeenshire, who I've done numerous reviews for before. You can find the link to those in the video description here, but we're also going to encounter a new Scottish brewery today. This is the Tempest Brewery from Kelso, just to the southeast of Edinburgh, if you like, right in the Scottish borders. I've heard very good things about this brewery, but I've never tried anything from them yet, and obviously then I've never reviewed anything from them here. But this one is the Brewdog and Tempest collaboration, and it's called Marmalade on Toast. But as is usual with my beer reviews, I like to add a little bit of a history element to the videos, so I'll just take you through a little bit of a history of both breweries very briefly, and I'll also tell you about the story behind this beer and the collaboration as well. But as I always say, if you are simply just interested in the tasting of this beer, then feel free to go on towards the latter part of the video and you will catch that particular segment. But to tell you about Brewdog first, Brewdog of course is the love child of James Watt and Martin Dickey, and they were founded back in 2007 at a small brewery in the Keswick Industrial Estate in Fraserburgh in the very northeast corner of Scotland, right on the tip of the monster's nose if you like. But more recently they've moved their main brewing operations to their new purpose-built facility in Ellon, Aberdeenshire. This is closer to the city of Aberdeen, the oil capital of Europe of course. But these guys are known for being a very experimental brewery, and particularly as well for their strong beers, and they're largely inspired by the American craft brewing renaissance. Martin and James's favourite brewery apparently is the Stone Brewery from California, and you might know this brewery of course from their Tactical Nuclear Penguin, Sink the Bismarck, End of History, these beers that they tried to produce to win the title of World's Strongest Beer here, but they were beaten of course by Brewmeister and Keith. But these guys are a really good brewery. They're very well known for actually having put Scottish craft beer on the map quite a lot. They've expanded a whole lot recently internationally. You can get these beers in Australia, in South America, South Africa, a whole host of places now. They're actually the largest independently owned brewery in Scotland. They produce about 120,000 different bottles of beer per month for export all across the world, and they're very well known for their brew pub scene as well. The first of these opening in Aberdeen in 2010, new sites in Scotland in 2011, and a whole host of sites opening up in England in 2012. And recently as well they've opened their first one in Stockholm in Sweden, and there's new international sites in Japan, Brazil, Tokyo, I just said that, Tokyo as well. There's ones in Germany, Italy, and they're looking at France, Belgium, Canada and the US as well, I believe, for these sites as well. I'm having to jog my memory a little bit there. But to move on to the Tempest Brewing Company, of course, this is a brewery, like I say, I've never encountered before. But this brewery is based in Kelso in the Scottish borders, and it was founded in 2010 by Gavin Meiklejohn, and he originally trained as a chef in New Zealand, but he returned home to Scotland in 2007 to run the Cobbles Inn in Kelso. And he had previously worked for Whistler Brewing Company in BC, British Columbia, in Canada, and so he had an appreciation for craft beer, and he had actually taken brewing courses in Sydney, Australia, and he'd home brewed in Australia in his garage with a 50-litre kit brewery. But basically the idea behind starting this brewery was the fact that in his Cobbles Inn pub a lot of people had asked for local beer, and of course there was none around at that point, so he decided he would brew the beer for himself and sell it in his pub, and this was the birth of the Tempest Brewery if you like. But Gavin Meiklejohn of course is joined by Alan Rice, who acts as the business development manager, and he previously worked for the Stewart Brewery in Edinburgh. Some really good craft beers from them actually. I need to do a review for them when I return from Germany. But this brewery is currently housed in old dairy buildings in Kelso, and the brewery has a capacity of 6,000 litres per brew, and it has conditioning space for up to 30 barrels, and they use hops from the UK, Germany, New Zealand and North America, as well as a wide variety of yeast strains in their beers for all the different beers that they produce. And they've got some really nice stuff here apparently, like I said. I look forward to reviewing more from this brewery, and I'll do that when I get back from Germany of course. But to tell you about this beer itself, this is a 6% fruit beer, and it was brewed for the Brewdog Collab Fest in 2013, where the Brewdog bar staff teamed up with one of their local breweries to produce collaboration beers, and in total 12 different beers were produced. And this one was produced by Graham from Tempest and Lynn and Fisher from the Brewdog Bar in Edinburgh. And apparently the inspiration for this beer came from a train journey where a child brushed past them in the aisle and dropped his Paddington Bear toy. Now, for those of you watching outside of the UK, of course, Paddington Bear is a little children's cartoon character if you like, and he absolutely adores marmalade on toast, so this is where they got the idea for this one here. And this one is brewed with orange zest, ginger and a lot of toasted malts. Basically they wanted to taste like marmalade on toast like Paddington Bear used to have. But let's get this guy out and get on with the tasting here. As I mentioned, this is a 6% fruit beer. I'll actually just let you have a little look at the bottle as I usually like to do. I'll bring the camera up again here. You can see again here, this is the sort of standard Tempest label here, and you can see there the sort of nice Joker artwork on the side, and it actually has a little bit of a description here. It says, I'm a small batch limited release craft beer, brewed and bottled by hand at our Kelso brewery. Please keep me cool and drink me as fresh as possible. And it says, contains malted barley, wheat, hops, water and yeast. And you can just see on the side there the address for the Tempest Brewery here. But this is the standard thing with Tempest, as I mentioned. They sort of have this standard label, then they just stamp on the front of the beer what it actually is. And you can see here that it is the Edinburgh Brewdog collaboration beer, as you can see. But it's meant this one has a best by date of 20th of April 2014, so it's just as well I'm doing this for you before I leave for Germany. But let's get this guy open and get on with the tasting here. Quite interested to see what this guy's like, of course. My first beer from the Tempest Brewery. But that's this one popped open here. A good bit of smoke on the opening there. This one's just a plain bottle cap, by the way, a plain black one here, which is standard for Tempest actually. But let's get this guy out and we'll see how we get on. This is a half-litre bottle, of course, but you can probably see that. Getting a nice little bit of carbonation here, a big bit of carbonation actually. See if I can get this, just even it out, of course. Just pour it in slowly, try and get it to dissipate. Just let this settle a little bit. We can have a little look at the colour of the beer and stuff like that. As you can see, I'll just bring the light over and check that you can see this well. As you can see there, when I shine this beer, over to the light, it's a really sort of bright, nice bright deep orangey colour, as you would expect from a kind of fruit beer to be that really bright colour like the fruit. I think you can see it a bit better now. I'm just bring this right over, try and find this with the camera here. As you can see, it's a really nice sort of bright orangey colour here. Really beautiful. Definitely a sort of deep citrusy element is going to be with this beer. Looking forward to trying it. There's a lot of big carbonation bubbles here. I expect this one to be quite smooth actually, and as you can see, it's got a big sort of, it's an off-white head with this one actually. Maybe that's about 3 fingers I would say. But yeah, really attractive looking beer. Let's see if we can get the rest of this guy out and then get on with the tasting here. Yeah, I'm not going to try and force that further. There is just a little bit left in the bottle, but that'll do for just now. In terms of the aroma with this guy here, really sweet smelling beer. You can actually smell the sort of a little bit of spice in here, to be honest, when I first take this in. But you've got a big dose of orange citrus and you've got a good bit of toasted malt in there. But you're getting a ginger sort of feel to this one, which is what you would expect here. They said they'd added ginger to this one, and you can easily pick that up in the aroma here. It's not too pungent an aroma. It is actually a fairly sort of tame aroma, if you like, but it does have that little bit of complexity there if you just breathe it in and give it a go. But definitely, as you would expect, some nice orangey citrus in there, a good bit of toasted and bready character there, but there's a nice sort of gingery spice element to it as well, as you would expect. But let's give this guy a taste and see how we get on here. Actually quite a spicy one, quite a spicy and bready one on first taste. Yeah, definitely a big spicy and bready character there, but it does have the orange flavours as well. In my opinion, it's the spicy bread that's pushing through and being the more aggressive component of this beer, if you like. The fruit flavours in this one are actually kind of a little bit sour in the sort of way that you would expect from Marmalade. So for actually going for this type of flavour, they have definitely done it very well. It has that nice sort of soury orange character, soury sweet orange, if that makes sense. It definitely has the Marmalade character that they're really going for with this one. It's a really nice beer, this actually. Definitely I'd love to see this done as a regular thing, to be honest. I've never quite tried one like this. But yeah, definitely. It opens up with the sort of orangey citrus flavours, and then that spicy bread character is really pushing through and trying to dominate the beer. The citrus is pushed out the way, the orangey flavours is pushed out the way quite quickly, but it goes into the background. It doesn't completely disappear. But this is a really nice one actually. I really like sort of bready beers, and they've done this one really well. It has that nice sort of marmalade on toast element, but it is more dominated by the bread. But that's the thing, if they tried to really make the orange dominate with this one, it might become like really cloy, and you know how Marmalade is. You've got to find the good balance there, and they've done this very well actually. I think it's good how they've got the Marmalade sort of flavours, the orangey citrus being the more subtle one, and the bready and spice in there is coming through just nicely. but it's got a really nice toasted element to it as well. You can taste that mixed in with the spice very well. It's actually a very well balanced flavour, this one, and the spice is actually lingering into the aftertaste here. Definitely that spicy, toasted, bready character is the main lingering flavour. The fruits, as I say, come in at the start, and then they're kind of like pushed away by the sort of spicy and bready character. This is a really interesting beer, actually. Really well done in my opinion. Very well balanced in terms of the flavour. It's got a slightly oily mouthfeel, this one, and I like that. As I've said in numerous beer reviews before, it has a nice sort of slightly oily, slightly syrupy mouthfeel. In fact, it's light to mid-bodied, probably more mid-bodied to be honest with you, and it has that nice soft carbonation there, and it's actually quite a drinkable one for being that little bit heavier. It is fairly drinkable, but this is one that if you're like me, you want to enjoy the nice bready malts in this one, but a really well balanced beer in terms of the flavour, and the mouthfeel suits it actually. The carbonation, if you like, sort of suits the spicy character quite well. It helps it come out just that little bit more and helps it linger throughout the beer. Very well done actually, but I hope you found this beer review informative. Overall, I would definitely say that this is one to give a try if you get the chance. I'm not sure if they'll brew this one again, so if you see it, pick it up and give it a go. It's quite interesting. I've never found a beer that tastes like marmalade on toast, but I think it's one of these speciality brews that only pops up every so often. But it's really nice. It's really nice and well done. If you're into your sort of bready malt based beers, this is one for you. It has that nice sort of orangey citrus element to it, and it's got an interesting sort of spice combination with it as well. Really well done, really well balanced in terms of the flavour, and the mouthfeel is actually very well done as well. It helps bring out the spice a little bit, and it suits the style of beer that they're going for here. Definitely an interesting one for you to try, but if you do get the chance, give it a go. I'm not sure how often it is going to be brewed again. But thanks again for watching my beer reviews. As always, if you've tried this beer before, let me know your own thoughts in the comment section here, and as always, thanks again for your support with my beer reviews. And please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff here. I like bringing my beer reviews to the YouTube world, if you like. But thanks again for watching my beer reviews. You've been watching Goddard Radio Moscow, and I'll catch you soon. A lot of German beer to follow, actually, with my trip to Heidelberg. Cheers.